And of course, cars. I mean, it was General Motors. And there are visions of the future always have this property of picking up a certain technology, like the automobile, and just projecting it. Projecting it. Plastics, for example. People know plastics period. Movie line. The graduate, Dustin Hoffman. He's just graduated from college. He's at a party, having a party for him. A friend of his dad's comes over and says, "Boy, I just want to say one word to you: plastics." Well, plastics were the miracle material of the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. Not a week went by, but Dacron, Orlon, nylon, something was coming out of the DuPont labs that was going to change the way we live, and it certainly has. And there were these representations. That was a plastic car on the upper left that people were going to be using. The Monsanto house of the future, everything in it plastic. The first Disneyland had that in Anaheim. Nylons. That was the 1939 World's Fair. The nylon was introduced, and these women are pulling on it to show we can pull on this and it won't get runs, and there's a huge light. So plastics were a big deal. In 1950, this didn't come out well because we're on the PDF, but this is from Popular Mechanics article in 1950 on the home of the future. And here's a picture. You can kind of see what's going on. The caption says, "Because everything in her home is waterproof, the housewife of 2000, this is how we live now, does her daily cleaning with a hose." Now, this didn't quite get it right. What did it get wrong? How did it get 2000? I mean, maybe some of you, I don't know, are in fact doing a cleaning with a hose, but I don't know what. But what did it get wrong? And we're going to try and learn names here. It's not going to happen. It never happened. We're going to try and know. Your name is Sophia. No, so we still have all of wood and wool and linen, all these materials that these were going to replace. Other things, yeah. So things, in fact, you're saying it's more complicated now. Everything isn't plastic and everything is. Yeah, and you're cleaning with a lot. We got a lot more cleaning products in your house than you're going to have. Yeah, what else? Right, that's an important point. That it's going to be housewives. In fact, people are even going to be using the word housewife without putting it in quotes or doing something. But the women are still going to be doing the housework while their husbands are off with volume best at the office doing their work. Yeah. Right. You know, I got under my sink. It's like this looks like. It's crowded down there. You see anything? I don't know if you can see on the table is an ashtray. That's kind of wrong. The idea we're going to have unlimited water. Some of the technology things are wrong. But the housewife is an important point. They not only got the technology right by projecting that the current technology would just sweep everything before its path, they also assumed that the social world would stop, that nothing was going to happen in the following 50 years. There was a show, Father Knows Best. It was a popular show in the 1950s with Robert Young, who went on to be Marcus Welby, MD, which is another popular show. And it was sort of the typical American family suburban sitcom. And you ask yourself, if you look at that show, or look at another show from the 1950s, what would have been most interesting or astonishing to people from that era if they could suddenly be transported to 2012 Berkeley or San Francisco or Phoenix or whatever. Well, they had telephones. I mean, the amount of technological change that went on between the turn of the 20th century and the middle of the 20th century was astonishing. They had the telephone, they had the automobile, they had the airplane. All things are unheard of. When some of these people were alive, they weren't heard of. Now they were part of. They had all the modern appliances. They didn't have microwaves. They had dishwashers and washing machines and so forth. So the world, and they had television. So the world was not, in a certain sense, that different. I mean, it's not the way it would be if you went back 150 years to Dickens' London, completely different. What would have astonished them? Well, what about our technologies? Computers they didn't have, and that would have been extraordinary to them. Cell phones, well, but cell phones have been that extraordinary to them. The idea that you could have a phone that you could walk out of the house, like a walkie-talkie, which they already had, that wasn't hard to predict. That wouldn't have astonished them. They might have liked the idea. The idea that you could take that thing and order books or find out the time of a movie or go online and get this or that sort of, all the things we could do with cell phones, apps, would have been quite remarkable to them. Medical technology, I think, would have been probably the most amazing thing to them. It changed enormously over. They had penicillin and drugs and so on and so forth. The chemotherapy was around by then. But medical technology really changed enormously. Still, my guess is that what would have blown them away would be some of the social changes that have taken place. I mean, if you brought them to, Jim and I forget his wife's name, and Bud was the son, and Kitten was the daughter. You brought them to 2012 America. Well, this is our Secretary of State. Excuse me. And this is Mary Jane. I forget what they call it, Mary Jane. But people use that now. In fact, they use it for medical purposes. Drugs. And that's our president. No. You got a Negro, a colored president? No. And on the lower, I don't even know what that is on the lower left, right? And this is a collection of Berkeley faces. That's what Berkeley students look like. That isn't what Berkeley students look like. This is what Berkeley students look like. Those changes would have been, and other attendant social changes in the way people live, would have been the things that really astonished them. Not that technology hasn't changed, but that the social grounding over which it's operating has changed, perhaps even more astonishingly in that period. So when we turn and say, well, what are the predictions we're going to make when we have our own Futurama and people are teaching this class 50 years from now, so I'm looking back, what are they going to find most reasonable, most amusing about how people back in the pre-information age 2012 thought about the future? Well, we're for sure going to get the technology wrong because every age always does. We're trying, we're going to get it wrong. We like to get it as right as we can. And in some things, for instance, in the 1930s, automobiles, they had automobiles still around. They still were. They weren't flying as everybody thought they were going to be from the 1930s on, but they're still around. But the social fabric is going to change enormously. It's very hard to predict how it's going to change. And in particular, certain of the notions that we take as just for granted when we talk about information technology. Well, how are we going to get the news in 50 years? What are we going to do about information? How about objectivity? Will there still be objective news media? That's the kind of question we ask. But these notions, objectivity, the news, information, intellectual property, privacy, and so forth, are notions that were historically shaped. They were shaped by historical forces. They're not natural categories. And when you look historically at the history, you see that instantly. And they could have very different forms. Whether they will think of objectivity 50 years from now the way we do, whether they'll think of news the way we do. Certainly the connection among the parts of the news. Who knows? Probably not. And in the light of having a sense of history, you come to realize how contingent, how easily changed these categories are. Reason enough to study it. Paul will be talking next time about why we want to do it historically, why the history is important for its own sake. So I won't have much to say about that now. But I will. We're going to have an exercise for next time. Paul will explain about the exercise. This is not going to be marked off or graded or whatever. But here's the deal. here's a list of, 6 different common household objects, if you have a rubber ducky in your house. Pick one of them and write a very brief story, paragraph, long paragraph, or an anecdote in which it serves as an information technology, some kind of story. Try to make your story ingenious without making it bizarre, without making it too science fiction-y. Bring your answers to class. Write them out, bring them to class. You won't have to hand them in, although subsequent assignments, Paul explained, will be handed in. And extra credit if you manage to use 2 of them. And for extra credit in quotes, we're not grading this one. Maybe we'll give out a bumper sticker, you're laughing. So this is the assignment for next time. Paul will take you through the route map of the class, so I think I'll get it over to him. Let me just say one thing, Paul can say this too. We have in the past had very good luck with our waiting lists, in the sense that all or almost all the people on the wait list have cleared and have gotten into the class. If you think, after today's course or for whatever reason, that you think you want to drop the class, try to drop it sooner rather than later, because you may be taking a place that somebody on the wait list could get into, which then won't get filled. So, Paul, let me give you yeah.
Yeah, there. I'll tell you that in a second. Yeah, good. Okay, all right. Yeah, let me see if I can bring it down in size a bit. Seems to be overflowing screen. Well, we may have to scroll a bit here, but that's all right. Yeah, we will have to scroll. Okay, well, we may not get this quite right on the screen. Sorry, we're using PDFs today, which isn't necessarily a good idea. Okay, so we've got half an hour or so. So we kind of do a good cop, bad cop role here, and Jeff has just given you all the reasons that you want to be in this course, so I have half an hour to persuade plenty of you really don't want to be in this class at all. So I'm kind of the bad cop guy. I just put this up, we won't be able to see it all, just to remind you that Jeff and I will tend to talk about Info 103, because we're from the School of Information, it's kind of our home turf. But that doesn't mean we neglect or despise all you other people out there. You maybe run rolled out of different things, sort of bear that in mind when we talk about Info 1 and 3 and the like. There's a lot of different people here. Who we are, we're in the iSchool, the newest school on campus, therefore they put us in the oldest and most dilapidated building on campus, but at least it's the one that everybody gets to see on the tour as they go around. Thank you. My email is dugan@iSchool, Jeff's email is nunberg@iSchool. We share the same office, which is in South Hall. Jeff's hours are going to be Tuesday 2 to 3, is that right, Jeff? Yeah, okay, and I'm Wednesday 10:30 to 12. But for both of us, please make appointments. We're more than happy to make appointments, but office hours tend to get filled up. And so please just send a message ahead saying, can I see you? More than happy to see you, but we will prefer to do it by appointment. We share the same phone number up there. It happens to be 1 digit off the Hearst gym locker room. So most time I just don't bother to answer it because I know it's somebody telling me they've lost their locker key or whatever. So therefore, email is preferred. Send us an email, we'll respond promptly, much more than by phone. And again, Blake he's Blake J at Berkeley, and he's going to be holding office hours after the class. He'll hold them in the Free Speech Cafe, whether he'll send you a cup of coffee depends on how well you're doing in the class. But also make an appointment if you can, let him know if you're going to do it, just so that he knows you're coming. Okay, Jeff has mentioned this, the wait list. Rule number 1 is just wait. In the past, the list has cleared, and everybody who's wanted to take the course, because I've alienated all the others, have got in. But we can't promise, obviously. The tricky thing is, well, 2 tricky things. One is that on a degree of sort of 1 to 100, administrative incompetence for faculty on this campus, and you will by now have met a lot of that. Jeff and I stand very near 100. So relying on us to answer these questions is probably a disaster. But the other thing is that for the most part, the lists are administered by these different departments. So if you're enrolling under CogSci, if you're enrolling under Media Studies, if you're enrolling under History, you want to talk to those departments about the list, not to us. The only way to get a reasonably clear answer. So, be cautious of what we say, but we will try to help you. But go to the department first if you have questions about the wait list. We'll try to shake it down. And one way we're shaking it down is by knowing who's coming and who's interested in the class. So if you haven't signed up yet, before you leave the room today, make sure your name is on this so we know you're interested and we know that you are coming. And then, as Jeff said, look, if you want to drop, fine, we won't take offense. But please do it quickly to allow somebody to get it and allow someone some kind of certainty to know what they're up to. Okay, so to the course. The website we share probably with most of you. A strong distaste is too weak a word for BSpace. So we do quite a lot of the information. It's not on BSpace, but in fact is on a blog at the iSchool. It's up there at the moment. We'll be going through changes. I'll talk it through in a moment. So basically the address is blogs iSchool Berkeley edu. Like I say, the prejudice towards the information school number, I-103, and then spring of 12. Okay, and then /syllabus, /course requirements, /about, /assignments. Okay, so that's where you'll get all the details, more or less. We will use BSpace. We ask you to submit assignments on BSpace. We'll send notes out through BSpace. We more or less have to do that, but the kind of core details go to the iSchool blog. That should get you through. Okay, the nitty-gritty. Course requirements. Okay, this is how we divide it up. 35% of the course grade is for the assignments and for attendance. Preponderantly to assignments, I'll go through this, but also for attendance. 25% will come from the midterm and 40% for the final. So that's how it divides up. Let me go through that. Okay, the course requirements. There will be reading assignments to make sure that you're understanding and responding to and have interesting things to say about the reading. There will be a dozen of these. They will be given out normally in the Thursday class, and they will be discussed in the following Tuesday class. So there will be 12 of them. And we will grade all of them, but we will drop your lowest 2 grades. So that also means that if you miss one because of an emergency, if you're called away, that's all right. If you miss 2, that's all right, but you better do pretty well on the other 10. If you miss 3, then you're starting to put yourself into trouble. The grading of these is max of 3 points each. Now, we'll be grading in sort of half-point margins, and my guess is that a good one, a pretty good one, will probably get 2.5. It'll be quite hard to get a 3. But if you get a 3, you're doing well. The 2.5, you're going to be doing fine as far as the course is coming along. Lower than that, you want to start to worry and hope we're going to drop that grade, so keep an eye on it. The extra points will in part be given subjectively by us looking at class participation. As you talk in class, as we call on you in class, as you bring up assignments in class, if you're an active member, we will notice, and there's room for you to get extra points. Finally, the assignments will be, as I said, given on Thursdays to be submitted via BSpace, one of the few occasions we will use BSpace, by 5 p.m. on Sunday. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So you'll have from Thursday to Sunday to get the assignment in. Okay, the midterm. Don't want to go into a great deal about this. We'll be going up later. We'll give out a study guide. We'll give you a list of essay topics, looking at the work over the first half of the semester. A slight warning, it will be weighted towards the readings that are given for the Tuesday class because they won't have been reading assignments. That's one way to know you're reading the things that aren't subject to an assignment. We'll give you a list of essays. We'll ask you to write 2 of those that you prepared in advance. There'll be 1 that you won't have prepared. The only thing to bring up now is if you're going to be away at that time, there will not be a make-up exam. You can write an essay. And indeed, anybody who wants or prefers to do an essay to an exam, you can submit to do the midterm essay rather than to do an exam. We will give you a list of topics in early March. You will have to ask us, yes, I'd like to do that topic, may I do it? If we give you the go-ahead, then the deadline for it is the morning of the midterm. And that means that if you crash out, if you don't get the paper written, you can just walk in and take the midterm. So that's the midterm. The midterm is a model for the final exam. So the final exam will be longer. The midterm is an in-class exam. The final exam is a 3-hour exam. But basically, again, we'll give you a study guide. We'll give you topics that you have to answer for identification purposes. There'll be a bunch of essays for you to prepare. There'll be a couple of essays that you won't have seen that you'll have a choice from. Standard exam stuff. The data's set. There'll be no makeup. It's that or nothing. All right. Okay, so that is more or less the gritty structure of how it's graded. The syllabus is up online. More or less, this is what it'll look like week by week, topic by topic. The reading will be up. There'll be additional material. If there is a link, then you simply link to the paper online. If there is not a link, then the reading will be in the reader. And I'll tell you more about the reader at the moment. So you should one way or other be able to find anything. Now, the things that you link to will mostly be things that you have to sign through the library proxy in order to get access to. How many people have used the library proxy before? Okay, and the others of you should know that if you go to live.berkeley.edu, it'll tell you how to sign up for it. But all this stuff is covered by highly problematic, and we'll discuss these later, intellectual property rules, so that we in the library can't simply give them out. You have to say, yes, I'm a student at Berkeley before you're allowed in to view them. So you'll need your Berkeley ID, etc. So if you don't know how to set up your machine, I mean, if you're on campus and logged in the library, you will get to these materials just by clicking on the link. But if you're off campus and not on a university network, you will have to identify yourself and set up a proxy. So find out how to do that. If you have trouble doing that, send us a note and we'll help you, but it should be fairly straightforward. And you go to the library website, lib.berkeley.edu to find out how to do that. And this is all up, and you can go through, and I'll talk a little about where we're going. The reader, as I mentioned, is already in print. It will find out later today if it's ready and put a note on vSpace as soon as it is. It'll be at Copy Central just across the road here. It's, I think, on the standard of Berkeley readers, it's a nice cheap reader. We're a cheap class here. There's like so many people enrolled. It's economic to come here. It'll be ready soon. Okay, now we can't get all this on the map because we're actually doing so much, but let me try to. Jeff showed you this image before. We're going more or less from cave painting to Twitter in 15 weeks, which is a pretty good gallop. All right, so we start today, Jeff, talking happily about where we are now. We're going to plunge in a few time way back into the past and come up through weird writing systems and early print and manuscript and the like. So that is roughly our course. Quite a lot, I'll mention again, is based back here. Jeff has been talking about this in the early history. We won't get to the modern stuff probably until almost the midterm. So if you have come here, as Jeff has suggested, because you want to do information technology, i.e. everything that Apple has produced, you're going to have to wait a long time till that happens. They might well drop the course now. But if you want to look at the long view, then that's what we're going to be doing. That's what the plan is. Here, and again, it's not fitting very well, but let me see, just to take you very quickly through what all that means. We're going to, Jeff began today with why the history of information, why are we bothering to do this and try to justify that. We'll talk a little more again on Thursday about this concept of information, the concept of the age of information and what is it, why do other ages not have a right to claim themselves to be an age of information, what's so special about us. We'll then bring up the other question that Jeff brought up this morning of technological determinism. What is it that people are really trying to say when they say information changed the world, technology changed the world, printing changed the world? What are those claims? Can they be justified? What's interesting about them? What's problematic about them? We'll talk about writing systems as the first technology, information technology, as Jeff calls it, and the cultural effects of those systems. Talk about manuscript once we start to have paper and different forms to pass it around in. And then we'll be talking in very traditional terms in one way, but also questioning those terms, this idea of revolution and a technological revolution. So we have this standard glib phrase, the print revolution. Well, what is a revolution? Does it look like the other kinds of revolutions we know about? Does Gutenberg look like George Washington? Well, not quite, but why not? Why should we bring those two together under the same term? And we'll talk about the scientific revolution, odd concepts that, as Jeff was saying, a lot of social and political changes that in many ways seem much more significant when you look at the past than the technological ones. The rise of the public sphere, the notion of the public with public opinions that have to be listened to by the leaders of countries. An extraordinary change. So we'll talk about that in terms of information. We'll talk about literacy, the organization of knowledge, popular print, other things that don't get much talked about in information history but are important, like time and money, two important information devices. More on the public sphere. We'll talk about information as property, about the terribly strange idea in some way. What's the idea that suddenly information can be property? And yet IP, as I said, even in trying to do the reading for this course, can screw up your lives. Another revolution, the communications revolution. Why should people talk about the communications revolution then? What happens? Technologies of the image, the camera comes along, propaganda, politics. We're in an election year, so it's a good time to think a lot about politics and the informational aspects, historically, of politics. Advertising somehow fits in nicely with politics in this country in particular, so we'll talk a little bit about that too. After the midterm, we'll get on to things that finally people start to think of more conventionally as information technology, broadcast, radio, television, storage, search, all these tools we use for that now, visual literacy, disintermediation, one of the things that technology is meant to bring about. And we'll end up talking about, having talked about social implications of technology for a long time, we'll talk about the social implications of the internet, these things that people